All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the January HMIS Agency Admin Training Webinar. My name is Stephanie Crum, Manager of HMIS, and I'd like to introduce my team. We'll start with Curtis.
Hi, my name is Curtis Hahn. I work as a business analyst on the HMIS team. So I work with the reports and data quality and data management.
All right, and next I have Alexis.
Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. This is Alexis Torrance, your HMIS team lead. We're so excited to have you guys here. Following up, I have Michael.
Hello, I am Michael, Project Specialist, HMIS Support.
All right,
And pass it on to, let's see, next down for me is Dakota.
Hello, I'm Dakota. I'm an HMIS program specialist. And I'll have Stephanie go next.
I'm Stephanie Grader. I'm an HMIS program specialist.
All right, awesome. And we have a new HMIS program specialist, Gia.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Gia. I'm the new HMIS program specialist, and I'm really happy to be here with you all.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So this little bit of overview of our agenda. This month, we're going to be really going over the housing inventory count and point in time count, overview of the updated steps that we're asking agencies to do for both of these. The point in time count is where we're looking at how many folks were homeless on one given night, and we'll get into the dates for both Balance of State and Maricopa. The snapshot of the homelessness in the region combines the unsheltered count with the sheltered count. The housing inventory count is our inventory again on that same night. And this is an inventory of provider programs that issue bed and units dedicated to serving people who are experiencing homelessness. We'll go over a schedule of upcoming actions and then details and some frequently asked questions for each step. And each step is going to be, let me go to the webinar reminders. This is Alexis.
You're okay. Hi, everybody. It's me again. So a couple of reminders for the session. Remember, you're the agency admin or the point of contact that we have listed within our system. If you want others to attend, please share that link with them. And share this information back with your agencies. You guys tell your teams, let them know. And if they have questions, send those to the help desk. We have 2 Q&A functions that are embedded in the system, but we also have a question and a chat. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask during the duration of the session. We'll answer them at the designated times and all throughout. Your attendance is collected by program. So there's an output survey, etc. That's how we know you attended this particular session. The webinars are recorded with notes, and those will be sent out by Tuesday, February 1st. And then that particular survey that we just talked about, that's due by Friday. And anyone in your agency that is also an agency admin webinar, or excuse me, an agency admin, they can also view this particular session and complete that survey as well. So another note, we just kind of spoke about it briefly. Sometimes data and information that we do in AATW isn't necessarily relevant to your region. However, it's fruitful information. So take this information back to your teams. Please send us tickets to the help desk so that we can make sure that we're answering any questions that you have during and outside of HMIS and this session.
And I do want to just point out a few quick reminders real quick before Dakota takes over. For Maricopa, the night of January 24th, so the last night is the night that we're looking for Balance of State, or for the point in time. For Balance of State, they did request an extension, and they are going to be doing their night, the night of February 22nd. Their survey will be running the 23rd through the 28th, but they'll be collecting the information of where that person stayed on the night of February 22nd. So I just wanted to make those 2 distinctions. A lot of the dates here right now are going to be really only relevant to Maricopa. We will be sending out information with balance of state's updated dates at a later time.
Okay, so Stephanie went over the dates. So the next bullet point here lists all of the program types that need to run the hit and pick report. So permanent housing projects, permanent supportive housing projects, rapid rehousing, other permanent housing, emergency shelter, transitional housing, and safe haven. So if you're on this list, if you have any of these kind of project types, we're going to be asking your agency to verify information about these projects, verify the bed and unit inventory for some of your projects, and verify the clients served on, verify the number of clients served on the night of the point in time. Next slide. All right. So this goes over the schedule for the Maricopa point in time. So the night of the 24th is the point in time night. And then on the 25th today, we will send each agency primary contact the list of projects they must verify. And agencies may begin early running reports to do preliminary data quality checks. So to check to make sure that all of your data is right for that night. And then from January 25th to January 31st, agencies will run reports and complete data quality cleanup and contact HMIS for assistance or to report a correction. Then from January 31st to February 7th, agencies will verify that data and use the correct report for each of their project types. And then also within this time frame, after you verify that data, you will run the reports a final time, now showing correct information. And then you will send the verified reports to the HMIS help desk team. February 7th is the final deadline to send the verified reports to our team. And then from February 8th to February 14th, the HMIS team may work with you with select projects on additional follow-up if we see any data quality questions that we have. So does anyone have any questions on these topics? We will be further covering this at the rest of the webinar, and we'll be going over a demonstration on how to run the reports and which reports you need to run. Okay, so we have a question from Virginia. Can I get the dates for balance of state hit pick? So the balance of state point in time is the night of February 22nd, and we don't have a defined timeline for that yet. Is that right?
Yeah, as far from what I've been reported from ADO, they're going to be doing their survey February 23rd through the 28th. And they're going to be asking the night, it'll be for the night of February 22nd. We're going to be sending out more information on those dates and a clear timeline for balance of state providers very shortly.
Okay, so Trevor in the chat is asking, has the COC decided who will be getting credit for housing individuals on emergency housing vouchers as they relate to the hit count? Should AHI be creating a new project at each of our properties to put residents that have emergency housing vouchers so AHI can be getting credit for this housing for these individuals?
That I will have to follow up with you on after, Trevor. I'm not aware of any guidance coming down from the COC on that yet, but I could follow up for you and follow up after.
All right, so it doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. So we can go on to the next slide and you can ask more questions in our next session.
Okay, so just continuing on, just some FAQs we get sometimes. We'll cover these here. So the first one, who receives my agency's list of projects? So we send the list of your agency's projects to the primary point of contact that we have listed for your agency. And next question, what reports need to be run? So for permanent housing, permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, other permanent housing projects, they need to run the 0628 HIC supplement report in ART. And so this is going to verify your housing inventory count, your bed and unit counts. And then for emergency shelter, transitional housing, safe haven projects, they need to run the 0630 sheltered, unsheltered pit report in ART. And this is to verify your client counts for the night of the 24th. Let's see. And when should the reports be run? So agencies are required to run the reports for the night of the 24th. The reports are available starting now, so you can run them today for last night on the 24th.
And remember, that information is relevant for Maricopa specifically because because BOS has that extension.
Yes, these are different dates. Same process, different dates for balance of state, sorry. Some more questions. What should I know about these reports? So each report has multiple tabs. There's the provider information tab, and that contains details about the projects. The bed information contains details about the bed capacity, client count, the number of people enrolled on the night of the pit. And don't forget that it takes ART 24 hours to show changes after you make those corrections or edits. Also, what do agencies do if the client counts are incorrect? Client counts should be corrected in HMIS. If you may submit a ticket to the help desk for any technical issues. Just some general problems you might have. I mean, just comparing your internal records to the reports that come out of HMIS. A lot of the times it's either, clients, if your client count is higher than what your internal records are showing, it may be that clients need to be exited. So you would have to verify that information for like emergency shelters. For the permanent housing, rapid rehousing projects, it might be an issue of just, for example, like a housing move-in date may not have been entered. So those would be the first things to kind of troubleshoot. And then anything else we can help you. I mean, we'll help you either way, but those are just general issues that projects might have.
So January 31st through February 7th FAQs. How do agencies know they are done verifying? So we'll rerun reports until they are accurate for each project. Remember, corrections take up to 24 hours to show an ART. So if you had a report, you had some errors, you guys made corrections, take 24 hours the next business day and rerun that particular report. And what should agencies do when the reports are accurate? You're going to send those directly to the HMIS team at the help desk. Each agency will have a designated point of contact from the team that they can alert in the help desk ticket and say, hey, Alexis, this is my data for hit and pick. Stephanie, this is my data for hit and pick. And then our team will do a final validation. This is all relevant right now to Maricopa. That submission deadline will be February 7th. Our team will then do follow-up.
After submission of the reports, starting on February 8th, we will, as a team, will be following up with each agency as needed to verify information or ask for any additional information we might need. That will be on a case-by-case basis, and we'll be working with each one of you will be working with a specific member of the team, and so they'll be your point of contact for those types of questions and that type of follow-up. We had a few questions. One of them was, what if your agency does an ART report? We'll work with you directly if that's an issue. I believe the majority of agencies ever in Maricopa County does. Balance of state, the majority of agencies, there should be at least one person who has a ART license. And I know that isn't the case for every single agency, and we will work with you on that if that is an issue for your agency. So running the reports, we are getting the reports updated, but I will show you last year's report. It's going to be a similar report and show you how to run it, where it's located, and the instructions that are included in there, as well as the reports and some common errors that we see. All right, so you're all able to see the service point screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. So we're going to go to Art, which we do by hitting this Connect to Art button. And the reports are going to be in the public folder, the data quality reports folder. And we'll see here that right now we have the 0628 HIC supplement for permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and other permanent housing, as well as the 0630 sheltered pit for emergency shelters, safe havens, and transitional housing. These will be updated from the 2021 versions to the 2022 versions after this meeting. And so to run the report, you're going to hit the magnifying glass and hit schedule report. And all you're going to do is enter in the provider that you're going to select for this report. So we'll hit select provider. And you'll find your search for your provider by name or by the ID number, select it from the chart and hit submit. One important thing to remember with these reports is to only run it for one provider at a time. We need a separate report for each provider in the list that will be sent to you. The PIT plus 1 day will already be entered for the correct date. So it'll be 1/25/2022. And then the effective date will also be 1/25/2022. Both these will be already entered in the report, and you should not need to change the PIT date or the effective date for these reports. So all you'll be entering is the provider that you want to run for. We'll hit next. Something that will help us is if you add the ID number of the project you just ran in the name of the report. So adding the ID number here. I did not check the ID number, so I don't remember what it was. But putting the ID number for that project in the name, you'll be running it as a PDF in the final form, but I find it easier to work with for data quality to do Excel initially when you run it. And then finally, you'll be doing once. For balance of state, we'll have this exact same report, but set to the correct dates associated with your projects. So for the final run, we will want it in a PDF format. While you're reviewing the data, I find Excel is a lot easier to work with to review the data and do data correction. So run this as a PDF, and all you're going to do is hit send, and that'll send the report. So what these reports look like, I'm going to pull up both of them. This will all be updated for the correct information for not only this year, but also for your continuum. And this gives you really the instructions on how to use this report. It's designed to be run as a PDF, and that is what we'll request the final version to be run as. You're going to start with the section verify number of clients served, so verify clients served. And this is to verify that all of the clients that you served on that date are included in the report. For the HIC, for the permanent housing projects, the number of clients must have a valid housing move-in date before the night of the PIT, but also after their entry date into the project. When you verified all the clients and the counts are correct, you can go ahead and proceed to step 2. If it's not correct, you need to keep working on the client served audit and working through and figure out what the errors are, have them fixed, and rerun the report the next day. If you run into issues with this or have additional questions, reach out to the help desk for assistance. Once the clients are accurate, you're going to move to this verify provider information tab and follow the instructions on the tab. And finally, once everything is complete, you'll save a final form of the report as a PDF with all client counts correct and send that to the help desk. So we're going to look at the verify clients served. And what we're going to see here is just a simple count of households with at least one adult and child. So families, households without children. So adult only or single adult households, as well as households with only children, in a final count. This final count of client unique IDs is the number that you want to verify for the night of the PIT is accurate to how many people you served. If you find that that number isn't accurate, you want to move over to this client served audit, and we'll have some things noted in red where there might be an issue. So here you'll see that this client is marked with a red over their housing move-in date. That's because this housing move-in date is before their entry date into the project. So for them to be counted in the report, they have to have a valid housing move-in date before the night of the PIC hit count and after their entry date. So that client was not counted in the total on this verify client serve tab. If that client should be counted, then their housing move-in date will have to be updated. Once you've verified all these clients and everything looks correct and this number is correct, you can move on to the verifying provider information. This tab just gives us some background information that really helps us in our process of submitting these as part of the final submission. It includes things like the address of the project, the operating start date, the program type, housing type, the target populations, and your grants cycle start date. The federal grant types are all listed on the last tab here, and that is just there for your help and for your information, just to make sure it's easy to see what the different options are of federal grant types. Once all of this information is verified, you can go ahead and submit the final version as a PDF report. Moving to the PIT, we're going to jump here. Again, we'll have the instructions here listed, and it's going to be a similar process of verifying the number of clients served in the night of the PIT, and then moving on to the client served audit if that number is not correct, and updating any errors. Once all errors have been fixed, you can run the report again as a PDF, verifying your provider information again, the address is same information, and verifying that client number served and submit as a PDF to the help desk. On this page, you'll see that there are some already here marked that have errors. These are all head of household errors here. So this, remember that every entry and every entry has to have a household, and they can only have one head of household. So a lot of these here, you'll see this one is marked as spouse, but they need to be self. This one has 2 head of households. These are both children. They may have been lost. So there's adult head of household may no longer be there. And that might be one that you want to check into to make sure it's counted correctly. So a lot of the errors you're going to see are head of household errors, as well as some of those housing move-in date errors. Again, we have the federal grant types listed in these instructions, which will all be updated for this year. So you have the correct dates and you know when to run it. At least one question. So we have a question about transitional housing. For transitional housing, the client does not need a move-in date entered. They would only get a housing move-in date entered after they've moved into a permanent housing location. So that covers the reports used for both the HIC and PIT report. Those will be updated and you won't need to change dates on those. You'll just need to enter in the provider, and each report needs to be run for one provider only. And we will need a report for every project that is a part of your agency.
We wanted to leave the floor open for any additional questions that are coming in. So we'll take a small pause and keep the Q&A up. If you have questions, they can be in the chat or the Q&A box.
Right, Curtis did such a great job. We don't have any questions coming in the Q&A. Oh, we got one. Are you, as the question here for the materials will be sent out by February 1st. We'll be posting the materials and they will be sent out.
There's also a YouTube video from last year, so the dates won't be correct, but the process will be very, very similar. And I can make sure to get that link sent out with these materials so that there is something there for specifically for running these reports.
Perfect. Thank you, Curtis.
All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Before you log out of the webinar, we really do want your feedback. So in the next 30 minutes, please expect an email with a link to a 4-question survey from SurveyMonkey to give feedback on this webinar. And if your question was not answered today, please submit a ticket to the help desk and we will help you out. There also should be someone from the help desk reaching out to each agency to help you out with this PIT report. So you'll be hearing from us. So have a great day. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.